We all know the moment. That knot in your stomach just before you press post, step into the spotlight, or speak your truth. It's the silent jury of 1,000 unseen eyes, and their judgment holds you still. It's the feeling of wearing an invisible chain, a chain forged not of steel, but of fear. The fear of being misunderstood, rejected, or simply not measuring up. For countless centuries, philosophers watched humanity suffer this very paralysis. They saw us live lives not of our own making, but crafted to appease shadows. This is a journey into the ancient mind, a quest to sever that invisible chain. We will turn to the Stoics, to Socrates, and to the deep well of timeless wisdom to reclaim the only mind you were ever truly meant to govern, your own. Lesson 1. The problem of listening to sleepwalkers. Imagine Socrates standing accused, facing death, yet utterly unshaken by the crowd's opinion. He didn't dismiss them out of arrogance. He dismissed them out of deep philosophical insight. He understood that most people live an unexamined life. They rush through their days, driven by instinct, cultural conditioning, and unanalyzed emotions. Therefore, their judgments, the criticisms you dread, are often merely echoes of their own fears, insecurities, and unthinking cultural habits. Their opinions are not based on deep truth, careful reason, or wisdom. They are often reactive noise, nothing more substantial than a gust of wind. The moment you place more value on their unexamined noise than on your own carefully considered values, you hand them the keys to your internal kingdom. You are being ruled by the sleepwalkers, by those who have never truly questioned their own motivations or beliefs. Your paralysis comes from valuing the unthinking more than the examined. The emotional takeaway here is simple. Do not fear the judgment of those who haven't judged themselves. Recognize their criticism for what it is, a reflection of their internal chaos, not a condemnation of your true self. Lesson 2. Why universal approval is impossible. Picture an architect attempting to draw a single blueprint that perfectly satisfies every single client's contradictory demands. It must be a skyscraper, but also a cozy cottage, ultramodern, yet traditional, massive, but hidden. It's an impossible task, a guaranteed path to maddening failure. Yet, this is the very performance we attempt every single day when we try to shape our lives to please everyone around us. We are pursuing a standard that doesn't exist. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius cut straight through this vanity, asking himself, how much time he saves who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks. When you aim for universal approval, you cease to be a singular, whole person. You become a collage of contradictory expectations. Pleasing everyone means you are everything to no one, and least of all, to yourself. This frantic, exhausting performance is what keeps you paralyzed. True freedom begins when you accept that your authentic self will naturally repel some people and passionately attract others, and that is a healthy, necessary consequence of living truthfully. Your purpose is not to be universally loved, but to be authentically you. Lesson 3. The healing power of the cosmic view. Think about the sheer indifference of the universe to your temporary fears. You are a single, brief flicker in time, and the critics whose opinions paralyze you are just as fleeting. The Stoics had a profound exercise, the view from above, or the cosmic perspective. Zoom out. Will the harsh look from a coworker, the cutting remark from a family member, or the anonymous comment on the internet matter a week from now? A month? A year? Now consider a century. When you truly internalize how small your life, and the opinions of others, is within the grand flow of time, the overwhelming weight of their judgment simply dissolves. You realize that most of the things people worry about you are forgotten by them within minutes, if they even noticed at all. We torture ourselves with worries that hold no substance outside of our own anxious imagination. By constantly reminding yourself of the vastness of time and the indifference of fate, you shrink your critics down to their proper, minuscule size. Don't let a momentary piece of noise dictate a permanent piece of your life. The universe simply doesn't care about your critics, and neither should you expend your precious mental energy doing so. Lesson 4. drawing a clear line of control. The former slave who became a great Stoic teacher, Epictetus, gave us the clearest, most practical tool for breaking this paralysis: the dichotomy of control. This concept teaches you to sort the universe into two bins: the things you can control and the things you cannot control. What other people think of you is fundamentally external to your will. You cannot mandate their feelings, their interpretations, or their judgments. Trying to manage the endless, shifting opinions of the world is like trying to bottle smoke. It exhausts you and yields nothing but anxiety. The only things you truly control are your own judgments, intentions, and actions. True power, true peace, is found when you aggressively pull your focus back from the chaotic, external realm of what others think to the solid, internal ground of what you do and believe. When your self-worth is rooted entirely in the quality of your character, your effort, and your rational choices, the fickle winds of external opinion lose all power over you. They become simply an external event, like rain or thunder, that you observe but do not internalize. Your job is to act rightly according to virtue, not to be judged kindly by the crowd. Lesson 5. Why virtue is the only audience. The greatest long-term danger in fearing others' opinions is that it turns you into a moral chameleon. You lose the solid, philosophical anchor of your own identity. You begin to modify your appearance, your words, and even your morals based on the room you are in, saying what you think needs to be said to gain approval. This constant modification isn't just exhausting, it's a betrayal of your potential. Aristotle taught that genuine happiness, eudaimonia, is achieved through the cultivation of virtue, the excellent, consistent activity of the soul. Virtue demands consistency. It requires you to act with courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom, regardless of whether you are praised by the world or ridiculed by your peers. The ancient measure of a great person was not their fame, but their unwavering character and their commitment to their own inner laws. The only mirror you need to satisfy is the reflection of your own highest principles, the reflection of your character acting with integrity. Ask yourself, am I proud of who I am when I am alone, not what they think of my performance? Lesson 6. The devastation of the unlived life. Close your eyes and imagine reaching the final moment of your life. In that silence, you are confronted not by the opinions of others, but by the ghost of the life you could have lived. You realize you never pursued that creative dream, never spoke that difficult but necessary truth, never took that bold chance, all because of a paralyzing fear of transient, external judgment. That regret, the pain of the unlived life, is the most profound and devastating criticism you will ever face. The Stoics knew that time is our most precious, non-renewable resource, the only thing we truly own. Spending it paralyzed by worry is not just a personal loss. It is, in their view, a moral failure. Every single day wasted managing the emotional landscape of imaginary critics is a day you steal from the potential and purpose of your own existence. True courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else, your dream, your integrity, your calling, is infinitely more important than the fear of a raised eyebrow. The cost of perpetual inaction is always higher and more permanent than the risk of temporary criticism. Lesson 7. Declaring your inner sovereignty. The final act of liberation is not about silencing the world. It is about achieving inner sovereignty, entering a state of self-exile from the need for their approval. This doesn't mean becoming aloof or arrogant. It means achieving deep, unshakable internal independence. The Cynic philosopher Diogenes was famous for his radical self-sufficiency. He made his home in a simple jar and openly mocked the pretentious customs of society. While we don't need to emulate his lifestyle, we can adopt his spirit. Recognize that the world's praise is as fleeting and meaningless as its condemnation. The goal is to become your own ultimate source of validation, to be a solid pillar, standing firm regardless of the emotional weather outside. Once you are anchored in your own virtue, their opinions are just noise, a non-factor. The moment you realize you can be perfectly content and happy even when others disapprove is the moment you become truly, philosophically free. Conclusion. We started this journey paralyzed by invisible chains. We ended recognizing that those chains were never real. They were forged in our own mind, held together by our own fear of external noise. Ancient wisdom calls us back to the agora of our own consciousness, demanding we listen only to the clear, authoritative voice of reason and virtue within. The fear of what other people think is merely a symptom of outsourcing your self-worth. Reclaim your internal sovereignty. Act according to your highest values, and let the shadows worry about themselves. If you had zero fear of judgment, what is the single action you would take tomorrow to live the life you actually want? Share your honest answer in the comments below.